Welcome to the Leader to Leader podcast. I'm your host, Susan Spears. Our guest today is Dori Stewart. She is the founder and publisher of Fredericksburg Neighbors. Now, Fredericksburg Neighbors is a local media company that's serving the Fredericksburg, Stafford, and Spotsylvania, Virginia region. Pretty awesome stuff going on with Dori. Dori, welcome to Leader.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. I see you everywhere all the time and never really have much time to say more than, hey, hi, how are you? So it'll be fun to catch up and get to know a little bit more about what's behind the scenes and the brain trust that made Dori decide to create this. Now, let me tell our listeners a little bit more about what you're doing. Your portfolio includes 3 monthly print magazines: Stafford Living, Spotsylvania Living, and Neighbors of Courthouse. The Fredericksburg Neighbors Connect newsletter reaches more than 15,000 subscribers, and she also has the Fredericksburg Neighbors podcast. Check her out, y'all. She leads the Fredericksburg Neighbors Choice Awards, the Fredericksburg Neighbors Dinner Club, and Power Players, a women in business initiative celebrating female entrepreneurs all across our region. And that has its own guide and the women-owned business directory. That I can tell you, I know how much work all of that is. It's amazing. And listen to this. Before she launched Fredericksburg Neighbors, she founded Engineering for Kids, an after-school STEM program. She grew this from a single local class into a global franchise with hundreds of locations across 35 countries before selling it just in time in 2020. Whole story there. And that experience, she says, taught her everything she needed to know about building a brand that a community trusts. And she brought every bit of that advice home to Fredericksburg. She's the author of Own the Block, Be the Brand Everyone Talks About. That's a guide for business owners ready to stop being the best kept secret in their community. We all know about that. She lives in the region with her husband, and he is also a local business owner. And she's a proud mom of 2 young adults. Dori, you are a busy, busy person.
Yes, I am.
Yep, she's just a firebrand. She's all over the place and getting it all done. But tell us more. I just shared the tip of the iceberg on your journey. So what would you share with listeners about really the leadership journey behind all of this?
Yeah, well, my leadership journey started as a local high school engineering teacher over here at Colonial Forge in Stafford. I taught for 11 years.
Okay.
Throughout that time, I had my own children and introduced them to engineering, saw the love that they had for what my high school students were doing, and decided to start a business called Engineering for Kids. And at first, I thought I'll just volunteer to teach an after-school program at their school, and thought, if I just get a few kids in and keep my own kids company, I'd be satisfied with that. But what ended up happening is the class filled up. The principal asked me to come back. I had teachers pull me aside and ask me to come back. And now this was 2008, 2009.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So terrible recession at the time.
Yes. Remember it well.
Yes. And, everyone told me I was crazy. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to start a business. STEM also wasn't an acronym anyone knew yet. And the only kids at the elementary level who were getting engineering education were kids who were in the gifted and talented program.
Yeah.
And so because of that, parents had a limited amount of money to spend on education, and they found that engineering was worth their money. And I had partnered up with Stafford County Parks and Rec, and I had someone come into my camp that first summer, and she said, "Your camp is full and my basketball camp is empty." Well, parents had a choice. Money was tight at the time, and it ended up taking off in a recession. After a couple of years into it, I started getting interest from areas outside of Stafford County asking me to bring Engineering for Kids to their area. And I even started getting people contacting me from all over the world. And so I quit my teaching job. I started growing Engineering for Kids, first locally, and then decided to grow through the franchising business model.
Right, right.
And in 2011, sold my first franchise in Portland, Oregon.
Wow.
And over the next, fast forward over the next, I'd say 8 years, grew it to hundreds of locations, 35 countries, reaching over 1 million students. And in 2019, I received a call from an ed tech firm out of Canada that had several education franchise brands under their belt, and they were looking to add a STEM concept. And I had received plenty of offers from private equity companies in the past, but none of them that really wanted to grow it instead of flipping it. And this business had education as their focus, and I decided this is a really good fit. They made me a really good offer, but I was still on the fence. This was my baby. I had been doing this now at this point for 10 years. And then 2020 comes around, COVID hits. One of their brands already had their system online. They already had everything in place, all the back end systems.
Wow.
We were building rockets, in person, hands on. Everything that we were doing was very hands on, and so the fact that they were able to take us online quickly, that was kind of my big sign that, okay, this is the right time, this is the right fit. Because if you remember, we had no idea, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We didn't know that ultimately we were going to have our entire summer camp season online, and it wasn't just in the US, it was globally. And so it turned out that 2020 was a good time, and I sold the business. I stayed on as president for about 6 months and ultimately decided that my values no longer aligned with the new owners as the founder, and I decided to move on. And I'll always be the founder. I'll always be proud of what was built, and it's still going, to this day, which is lovely to see. And then I decided to start doing some business consulting and franchise consulting, and that led me to building FXBG Neighbors. I decided to take all of that experience and knowledge with building engineering for kids and bring that locally and help local business owners grow their business. And it's really been something that has started out as some print publications, has grown into a podcast and a newsletter, and all these other initiatives that I'm creating, like the dinner club. I really just want to bring the community together and do what I can to help shine a spotlight on local businesses here in the Fredericksburg area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw, I don't know if it was the first of the dinner club or whatever, but it was a couple months ago. And there's a young man that's he just graduated from Leadership Fredericksburg. And I know he's growing his network and stuff. And I saw you had a small dinner club, and there was his picture in the middle of it. So when I saw him next, I was like, I saw you at that dinner club. And he was like, it was so much fun, But that was really cool because I knew from talking to him here at the chamber that he was looking at ways to expand a network. And then you provided a cool, neat, new opportunity for him to do that. Yeah, it's just everything is like a Kevin Bacon degrees away from each other on all these things that are happening, So you have a little nugget of an idea. And I'm sure that if you decided a year from now, the dinner club's cool, but it's taking up too much of my time, not enough, I'll just switch up. I've got another idea. You seem that way to me, that you just keep innovating and coming up with new things.
It's really fun to build.
Yeah.
I get a lot of enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, clearly you do. And it's interesting to see you pick something like publications in a time when publications in a lot of ways go away. But the world is, the hands-on piece there where you can see that neat picture in person and read that article in your hands and keep it with you and all that has a lot of popularity, no matter what. It's changed as an industry, but you saw an opportunity there.
Absolutely. And what we do is we put a family on the cover that lives in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole purpose of the publication is to get to know your neighbors.
Yeah.
And these magazines get delivered right into the mailboxes of the community. And so people love seeing that in their mailbox and being able to read about their neighbors. Everything in the publication is hyper local. So we
Right.
share, the stories of our neighbors, and it's become quite popular because if you think about it, you see about 1,000 ads on your phone a day without even realizing you're
Right.
seeing so many ads. It's
Mm-hmm.
so easy to just scroll through. And so businesses are not getting as much attention as they think when they are advertising online. Now, it's still important. It's a great way to reinforce the print, but print has staying power. When you are looking at a page and it's got a photo of your neighbor on the page and then there's an ad on that same page, the stickiness of that ad is going to be much more effective than if you saw an ad on your phone and you're just scrolling past.
Yeah, and so for you, it's finding the way to monetize and make that business model work, which I think you've probably done. You have, as you said, you have a record of success with that. And going back to everything with STEM, I mean, how cool you could still not there'd be nothing wrong with it if you were still the engineering teacher, and that's where you stayed because that's important and critical and all that, and that was certainly. The path that you may have originally been on. But when opportunities or ideas start to happen and connect, it's really good that the way you leaned into it. And I well remember from being here at the Chamber through all of this, the time of STEM evolving. We had a Fred Tech group here, and we did a bunch of STEM summits for a lot of years. And I do remember those earlier years, which is around that same time. It's growing in its traction because there wasn't enough talk about it. And then it became STEAM. We added arts to it, right?
Mhm.
And so today it's everyone is talking about these things, and that's great because you really were a trailblazer in that. At a time where it was a pretty big deal to make that kind of a commitment. So awesome.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I was really fortunate to really be first to market in
Mm-hmm.
franchising in the STEM space.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I believe was one of the things that really propelled us so quickly is that I really, in those early years, didn't have competition. So I was really able to create the space for others to
Mm-hmm.
follow.
Yeah, that's cool too. There's something about you. Let's talk about you and how you're wired, like kind of your leadership style. There's
Mhm.
something in there that's very, forging ahead and innovating and driving and so forth. How would you describe it?
I would describe it as servant leadership with a megaphone. So, servant leadership, in that I believe that my role as a leader is to lift others up,
Okay.
whether that was as a teacher
Mm-hmm.
or as a franchisor where I've got franchisees that I'm leading, or now with FXBG Neighbors where it's other business owners. But with a megaphone, with that part, I love creating a platform to share other people's stories and brag about other businesses. And I believe that by sharing other people's successes on your platform is just such a great way to lead the community. And I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to build the room and then celebrate all of those in it, you know.
Build the room and celebrate all of those in it. That's a pretty cool statement. Yeah. Yeah. And I think we have a lot in common there because you're sitting here. This is the Chamber of Commerce. You're very involved with us at the Chamber, and we're grateful for that. But I kind of see things a lot like you. I've got a lot of hats I wear at the Chamber. And among my favorite things is doing exactly that, telling the stories, highlighting people, the days we can give out an award or shout out or whatever it is that we're seeing on those, our members are businesses, nonprofits, and they're also government and so forth. But those are businesses under a different structure. They're still doing business. They have employees. They have regulations and laws and all that. We love to share those success stories and highlight them. And I also I don't know about you if you've had these things. I'll see it happening around me where we've gotten whoever in the room, this is very simplistic, but I call it the moments. It's just nothing more than that. It's the moments because I see it happen. And it's behind closed doors sometimes. And sometimes it's out in a big event with hundreds of people and I see it over on the side and others might not see it. You know who they are and you know what's happening there. Sometimes it's competing CEOs that I see get behind here because all the community that thinks they should not get along and their businesses are competing. But here they come to a neutral ground and they have those conversations that make things happen. And knowing that you're part of that fabric that brings those people together and then highlights them when things are great. It's fulfilling, you know?
It really is. And you mentioned at the beginning during the introduction that I've created this group of women. I call them the power players. Putting women in the same room who are competing businesses who've never really been in the same room.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's their first time in this type of environment and seeing the collaboration and the good that can come out of collaborating. Just because there's another business that does something very similar to you doesn't mean that you can't figure out a way to collaborate, even if it's just cheering each other on. And I feel like we don't celebrate ourselves enough. We don't celebrate each other enough. And there's so much negativity in the world. If we celebrate all of the wins as much as possible, you know, and in person even, and getting together. That's what I love about the chambers, all the events and getting everyone together and, you know, the awards and all those types of things, celebrating each other as much as possible. I believe parties can change the world in a way, right?
A party can change the world. Yeah.
Bringing people together in person, learning that person that you keep seeing online that you think is doing everything better than you, and you've got, maybe it's, you don't realize it's jealousy or something like that, and you think that they're your competitor, actually getting in the room and celebrating each other, the good that can come out of that is just magical, you know.
It is. There's room for everybody. This region, you know, has grown so much. We're well over 400,000 now. and I know when I started at the chamber, we were a little over 300,000, and we saw all the projections that said that's going to double over the next 25 or so years, and we're well on our way to that. So with that doubling or heightened population, with, you know, more 400% growth since 1970, when you see that, you've got to go, well, there's not room for just one of this or that or the other. Each one is unique and special, but my goodness, how, you know, people want to be able to go and have choices and maybe even bounce back and forth between those competitors, you know, for different things.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
just and having, and I think a beautiful thing too is knowing you're a vibrant community because you have those options.
Yes.
Yeah. And then when you also know, you go over to this one and they're saying kind things about the other one, that leaves a happiness, you know, and feeling about them versus, oh, we don't know who you're talking about, they don't exist or whatever, you know.
Absolutely.
So bringing all those together, I think, is great. I love hearing that. Now, as you've winded through this servant leadership with a megaphone life, did you see someone else like that, or somebody that's mentored you along the way, that's kind of poured into you to help you on this realization and journey?
Yes, absolutely. So when I first started my franchising journey, when I decided I'm going to franchise my business and I started getting franchisees, my background in my education was in you know, engineering education. I didn't have any background in business. So I struggled in the beginning with how to be a good leader and what does that look like? You know, I really didn't have anyone to mentor me at the time. And I went to an International Franchising Association conference and I met Dina Dwyer Owens. She is not anymore, but she was the CEO for about 15 years of the Dwyer Group. They've now rebranded and they are Neighborly, and Neighborly is the largest franchisor of home service brands. They have about 15 or so franchise brands under their belt. And she was the CEO at the time. In the franchising world, the number of women who are franchise founders is very, very small. There's not very many.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's not very many. And I saw her speak at a conference, and she was speaking about her values, and she was talking about living rich. And I was like, rich? Okay, that's interesting. I'm, a new franchisor. I'm trying to grow my business. And RICH is an acronym that stands for respect, integrity, customer service facing, and having fun. The H is having fun in the process. And she talked about how living rich has helped her understand that it's how you treat people along the way that helps your business grow and thrive. And I really latched onto that, and I created my own values for my own business. And I was really excited to meet her and get to know her over the years. And yeah, Dina Dwyer Owens was definitely someone that I looked up to. And I carry that still through to FXBG Neighbors, respect for my clients. We just talked about celebrating, having fun in the process, celebrating the community, celebrating my clients. I even celebrate people who are not my clients. I will interview any business, whether they're my client or not, on my podcast, because I want to shine a light and celebrate everyone, and so those values I still, keep today with FXBG Neighbors. So Dina Dwyer Owens, shout out.
Okay, that's super cool. And the realization on the point of values. Sometimes, those business books and all, you're going to find it. Oh, we need mission, vision, values. And sometimes they're just words. And so for you to have really stuck and be something that you're like, I really think I like that. It's not rich like just, it's only money, only focus. That's what you think of rich. I think of rich like life, like all, your family's healthy. You have the things around you that matter to you, and you're comfortable. You don't have to be layered in gold to be rich. And then to bring it into respect, integrity, customer service, and having fun. You made me think of Rotary. Shout out to you guys at Rotary. I had Rotary this morning. We have our 4-way test, and then we always say, and the 5th one is to have fun, so that's good, because wouldn't it be hard to do all this if it wasn't fun?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a big part of it. Customer service is applicable to everything.
It really is.
Everything. It doesn't matter. When you're in the classroom teaching, it's customer service. It's the parents. It's the people around you. It's the kids. It's a service of, back to, you said servant leadership, but really it's how we treat others, right? And it's just so, you don't realize how important it is until you're in situations where it's gone south and you're going, gosh, can someone help them, to be, and it's probably ingrained in you to just be like, how can I? And I always think, yes, it's true. I had a lot of years in retail. This thing about the customer is always right. They're always right until they're wrong.
I like that.
And they're wrong when they go against those values. So if that integrity isn't brought in, if you don't meet us where we are with respect and kindness, you don't have to be fun for us to be with you. We'll be fun, but you don't have to be fun. We can let that go. But disrespect and all of that. So it's great to have that whole civil kind of universe around us, and you're modeling that.
Absolutely, and it helps when things get really difficult and you're faced with really difficult decisions. It gives you that compass to make the right decision. And really, before diving into this and figuring out what are my values and what are my business values, I did make some mistakes that, I look back on, and I did not use that compass. And one example I would give is when I first started franchising. In the beginning, I was so eager to get franchisees and to see this business grow. And I had someone in the beginning that was showing some red flags, and I ignored the red flags because I was eager and excited, and I really wanted to bring Engineering for Kids to that town.
Yeah.
And I missed it. and ultimately had to exit that franchisee from the system. And now that I have this compass and I have created these values, I use that in every difficult decision, and it helps me avoid some of those mistakes that I made in the past.
It's that foundational piece.
Yeah.
And those mistakes were just learning steps.
True.
You know, I mean, because you're not human if we don't have them. And if we don't continue to have them, let's just hope they're not as big, right? We have some smaller, obstacles and things because again, we're human, and we have to deal with that. What do you find the most challenging part of let's say a day in business or what you do right now?
I would say it is it's saying no to things that you want to say yes to, but maybe it's not the right timing. Maybe it's not the right fit. Maybe it's not the right partner. So that is something that takes some practice.
It does. But it goes back to the term in general. Okay, customer service, however you want to phrase that. But if you know how to have that right connectivity and discussion, you can have a no that doesn't hurt someone. Or insult them or leave a bad taste in the mouth. There's a lot of happy no in saying, I'm just at capacity.
Right.
Or I've got these 3 areas that I focus in, and that one's what I love what you're trying to do. It's just right outside of my scope, and I'm not in a position yet to go there. So there's ways of saying it that don't make them feel bad and all that. And people may be disappointed in a decision, but you've done it out of a place of kindness and respect, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you've mastered that, right?
I will always be working on it.
Yeah, it's your work in progress. No,
Definitely.
It's just a darn no. No, I'm just kidding.
Establishing those boundaries and figuring that out, I think will always be a work in progress.
Yeah. Some of that I figured out on the volunteer side of things a lot when I was earlier in my journey, and I said yes to things that I wasn't perfectly aligned with. And I would go to these different board meetings and stuff, and I'd be like, why do I feel sick kind of in the meeting? It's not because I didn't like them or agree with what they were doing. It wasn't my passion. I was one that should come to their event and support them one night a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be like, I'm your friend in the community, but I'm not your planner and your advocate that's there round the clock because it's pulling an energy from me that's better spent over here on this one where I have maybe more expertise or definitely more overall passion. Yeah. And so being able to say no and because you can say capacity, but you're helping both yourself and the others. And sometimes we really have to learn that the hard way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So that's been a challenge. I think that's a common challenge that people have. What do you find I know you find it rewarding to celebrate people and all that. What other things are super rewarding to you as you go about your journey here?
Yeah. I think I love the fact that I am able to provide a platform that not only helps the community, but also shines a light on business. So it goes, you mentioned, how you monetize something like this. So if it wasn't for me celebrating the community and sharing all of the good news that are going on, all the cool events going on, why Fredericksburg area is so great, because I do all of that work, the businesses that I work with, they get the benefit of the visibility that I've built. So I'm able to help businesses get visibility because so many businesses struggle with that. They think that, they're bragging or there's, an ego involved in that. But there are people who need what you have to offer and they need to know about it. And if you're not going to brag about it, I will.
That's right.
Yeah. So many businesses think that, they're the best kept secret. Well, that's not a good thing, right? They need to get themselves out there. This is where the megaphone comes in. But I love being able to do that and help businesses get visibility, but also be able to serve the community and share all of the great things that are going on in the area.
Yeah, that's great. And I know it's not only small business, but it's primarily small business, and that we both connect with. I mean, Virginia is 90% small businesses. Everything is. And my goodness, when folks are starting out or they're still, it's so hard for a small business owner to wear every hat, and they're often so passionate about, whatever it is that they're an expert in. And now they have to also be an expert in QuickBooks and, marketing and all of that. So for you to come along and offer platforms, and the chamber, all of us hand in hand on different ways, that we can help them with that platform. That's just terrific. Everything we do that supports that ecosystem around here is great.
Absolutely.
So.
That's why I love supporting the chamber so much. And I encourage all of the businesses that I work with to join the chamber, because it's all of these things that work together. It's not just one thing. It's not just joining the chamber. It's not just being in a magazine. It's not just social media.
Right.
It really takes being in the room physically and virtually constantly that's going to help a business really get visibility. We all work together.
Yeah. And it, like I said, and that room is where the moments happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So getting there and making those intros for people. It sounds like you've just got so much to offer if somebody was new at trying to do something like what you do. What is the number one piece of advice you'd give them?
I would say you don't have to have it all figured out, but you do need to have the confidence in yourself that you can figure it out. When I decided that I wanted to franchise Engineering for Kids, I went to a franchise consultant, and he told me that it wouldn't work, that Engineering for Kids was not franchisable, that I couldn't duplicate that in other communities. And of course, people didn't understand yet. As we talked about, STEM wasn't an acronym anyone knew yet. And I decided to instead believe in myself, believe in I could figure this out. And so that would be my advice to new business owners. You don't have to have it all figured out right now, but believe in yourself that you are smart enough and capable enough to figure it out. And whether that means going to conferences, getting a mentor, reading books, whatever that takes, you can figure it out.
That's good. And yeah, so that person maybe they weren't trying to discourage you. It's just what they really thought. But I'm glad you believed in yourself.
Thank you.
That's just awesome. It's awesome. Well, let me know. Do you have a favorite quote or anything that you would share?
I have a quote that I would love to share. I love it so much that I wrote a book about it.
Yeah, tell us more.
Be the brand everyone talks about. That's my favorite quote. So I wrote a book, Own the Block, Be the Brand Everyone Talks About. And so I would love to tell business owners, that's your goal. Be the brand everyone talks about. And to do that, you've got to be visible. You've got to get in the room like we talked about. You've got to do all of the things. But just don't be the best kept secret in town.
Yeah, be the brand. What are on brand? Usually, I don't know the exact rules, but there's 3 or 5 things that identify, like with a personal brand, right? Well, have you done that? What are yours?
Rephrase.
Like if I said it on a personal brand, some people would just say Chamber of Commerce, right?
Oh, I see.
But I'm going to say, yes, business advocate, right up there. But I'm also going to say on my personal brand, which if you were on any of my personal, not like my little baby Instagram, I keep it private because it's got my personal. It's got Labrador retrievers. It's got my family. It's got the Rolling Stones. It's got those couple of things that are those joy things that any room you go in, it lights up because for me, when I see someone else like that loves the New England Patriots, there you go, or that hates them, then it's like, let's talk about it. So the personal brand not only includes that business face, but those, for me, it's all faith, family, Labradors, those things that are such a joy in your life. And then you want to be identifiable. Sometimes people, it's a color they wear all the time or a style, or it can be their hairstyle. It's all kinds of things that make up that identifiable personal brand. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I would say small business champion.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure. I would say community champion.
Yes.
So Fredericksburg specifically champion. Love of all things local.
Yes.
On the personal side, I also would say family.
Yeah.
Crazy about my family.
Mm-hmm.
Would do anything for my family. I do have a love for dogs, except for me, it's Cocker Spaniels.
Yeah, I was afraid. She had that look. I thought she's going to go, except I don't like Labrador Retrievers, Susan. They're so cute. They're about a third or a fourth of the size of my dogs, but they're precious.
Yes. And then the last thing I would say is obsessed with pizza.
Okay.
I could eat pizza for every meal, and I'm obsessed with going to, every time I travel, I have to find the local pizza spot. You know, I have to find the Orofino, because Orofino has my favorite pizza.
I mean, tell us what, now we have to know, what is your favorite?
It is Orofino's margarita pizza.
The margarita pizza, yeah.
Yes. I was so fortunate to get to go in and watch Danilo do a demonstration on how he makes his pizza and all of the ingredients that are authentic to Italy. And then I tasted it and I was said, oh my
so
goodness.
Good. So good.
So good. But when I travel, everywhere I go, even if it's a small town or anywhere, I'm like, okay, first thing we got to do is scope out the pizza places. So. And
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I do believe that pineapple belongs on pizza. I know that's a controversial take.
Okay, yeah. I just flat out don't like pineapple anyway, but good for you. I like Canadian bacon on a pizza. And sometimes they put those two together, like ham and and all that. I was like, just without the pineapple. So it's kind of fun. Did you see that movie Mystic Pizza?
Oh, it's been a
with
while.
Julia Roberts and them, and they're working at that little pizza place. Go look at that again. It's fun, and you know, it makes you want it, even though I have no idea. Right? It's like, but I want. It's just even that word though, mystic, just makes it sound great. You know. So cool. You make me think about all that stuff and so forth. All right. I digress. Anything else you want to share with our listeners today?
Just that if you are a small business owner and you need help with your visibility, I would love to help you. Yep. I would love to invite you to be a guest on the FXBG Neighbors podcast. We are 2 episodes away from recording our 200th episode.
Amazing.
I know. We're going to have a party to celebrate.
It sounds like a party. Yeah.
Any reason to get everybody together and celebrate. So
love it. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks so much for coming in today and spending a little time with me. I've enjoyed chatting with you.
This has been so much fun. Thank you.
Awesome. And now I'll know a little bit more about you when I see you out in the community. Well, thanks to our listeners for spending time with us today, and we hope you'll come back in the future. But for today, we just met with Dori Stewart, the founder and publisher of Fredericksburg Neighbors. And I am your host, Susan Spears, President, CEO of the Fredericksburg Regional Chamber of Commerce. Now, if you haven't already liked us or subscribed to this podcast, We Are Business and the Chamber's Leader to Leader podcast, come on, go ahead and do so. We want you in our family. And by the way, sneak over there and get on Dori's too if you haven't done that already. The links will be right there when we publish this. You need to know when all the new episodes are available so you can know all the great leaders and businesses in the Fredericksburg region community and a little beyond. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.